My child, I need you to pause everything you are doing and listen to this message with your spirit, not just your ears. Something profound has shifted in your life today, something so massive that the vibrations of it are still echoing in the unseen realm, even if you haven't seen the physical evidence of it yet. You might be going about your day feeling like everything is normal, but let me tell you, the atmosphere around your name has just changed completely. A major event took place this morning in the spiritual realm, a transaction that has altered the course of your family's history forever, a door that has been stuck open for generations, a door of theft, of loss, and of struggle, was slammed shut by the hand of God today. And at the exact same moment, another door, a massive gate of favor and restoration, was swung wide open for you and your household. When that door closed, the sound was like thunder rolling through the heavens. It was the sound of a final verdict being delivered in a courtroom that is higher than any human court. This courtroom was filled with tension, with whispers, and with heavy anticipation. And in the center of it all, there was one name being spoken over and over again. Faye Clear's throat, Faye. That name was the name of your son. Yes, your son's name was the subject of a high-level spiritual battle that concluded today. You need to understand that this was not a small disagreement. This was a war for his destiny. There has been a battle raging over his life for years. A silent war that started long before he was even born, fighting against the bloodline he comes from. Earlier today, before the sun even rose in your sky, an adversary walked into that divine courtroom. This person, this spiritual enemy, walked in full of pride. They were dressed in arrogance, like it was armor. They carried themselves with the confidence of someone who has never lost, someone who is used to taking what does not belong to them. They believed they had the right to accuse your family. They believed they could twist the truth, manipulate the laws of the spirit, and overpower your lineage simply because they had succeeded in the past. They walked in thinking, this blessing belongs to us. This territory is ours. No one can stop us from taking it. They looked at your son's future and claimed it as their own property. They thought they were untouchable, but they made a fatal mistake. They did not know who was sitting on the judge's throne. They did not know that the weight of heaven had already shifted in your favor before they even opened their mouth. They entered that courtroom feeling powerful, thinking their lies would hold up one more time. But they were unaware that a divine verdict had already been written, signed, and sealed long before they arrived. They did not realize that the cries of your ancestors had been stored up in golden bowls in heaven. Every tear your grandmother cried, every prayer your grandfather whispered in secret, every groan of pain from your lineage, it was all there. Those prayers had finally reached the throne of justice. The enemy thought they were fighting you, but they were actually fighting the accumulated prayers of generations. They didn't know that the very thing they were trying to steal, the honor, the prosperity, the peace, was tied to your son's specific destiny by a covenant that cannot be broken. The hearing began, and for a moment, the air was thick with pressure. Accusations were thrown, arguments were made. The enemy presented their case, listing every mistake your family ever made, trying to use your past against your future. At first, to the untrained eye, it might have looked like they were winning. They smirked. They whispered to their cohorts. They looked at your son's name with contempt, believing victory was guaranteed. But then, slowly, beautifully, the atmosphere began to change. It started as a low rumble, a shift in the spiritual temperature. Their confidence began to crack. The lies they were telling started to sound hollow. The documents they were holding, the proof they thought they had, began to disintegrate in their hands. You could see the color drain from their face. Their hands started to shake. The arrogance that they wore like armor began to shatter, piece by piece falling to the floor. Then came the moment that heaven had prepared for all eternity. The judge leaned forward. The room went ice cold. The silence was so heavy you could feel it pressing against your chest. The judge removed his glasses, looked directly at the accuser, and read the final words that changed everything. The verdict was read aloud, and it did not just favor your son partially. It favored him fully, completely, and undeniably. The moment the judge spoke your son's name with authority, declaring him the rightful owner of the blessing, the enemy felt a fire burn inside them. It wasn't just defeat. It was humiliation. It was shock. It was fear. Their entire world collapsed in seconds. They realized they hadn't just lost a case. They had lost their control of your bloodline. They lost the territory they had been squatting on for years. The judge made it crystal clear what you claimed was yours never belonged to you. It belongs to this boy. It belongs to his children. It belongs to his children. It belongs to his purpose. The theft is over. The manipulation is over. The cycle is broken. If you are sensing the power of this victory right now, if you feel in your spirit that this verdict is real, I want you to take a moment to seal it. Please, leave a comment below saying, "I receive this victory for my family," or simply type Amen. When you comment, you are adding your yes to heaven's verdict. It helps this message reach other parents who are fighting silent battles for their children. Let's continue, because the reaction of the enemy was terrifying, but it proves your victory. When they stormed out of that courtroom, they were carrying a darkness so thick it frightened even the guards at the gates. They were muttering curses, cursing your son's victory, cursing your name, cursing the justice that was served. They were shaking with rage, not because they were strong, but because they were powerless. In their desperation, they did something reckless. With hands trembling in anger, they didn't go home to accept their defeat. Instead, they made a call. They reached out to someone dangerous, a spiritual mercenary who lives in the shadows. They called upon a force that thrives on intimidation and fear. With venom in their voice, they gave one command: find them, they said. Find where their son lives. Find their home. Shake them. They want to intimidate you because they can no longer touch you legally in the spirit. They want to plant fear in your heart because they know they have lost the power to harm your destiny. But hear me clearly. Do not be afraid. Do not let your heart race. Before they even picked up the phone to make that call, God had already dispatched a legion of angels to your doorstep. Before they even thought of the plan, God had already surrounded your home with a wall of fire. The enemy is reacting out of loss. God is acting out of absolute power. The moment that wicked call was made, the atmosphere shifted, but not in the way the enemy intended. As they released darkness into the air, God immediately released a blinding light to counter it. As they tried to track your family's location, heaven scrambled every path and confused every signal. Their information became distorted. Their spiritual map became twisted. The directions they thought were clear began to lead them nowhere. They think they are hunting your son, but they do not realize they are walking directly into a divine maze designed to exhaust them and expose their foolishness. You must understand why they are fighting so hard right now. You must understand why they are so desperate to keep what belongs to your child. This battle did not start today. It did not start with your son, and it did not even start with you. This war began long before your son took his first breath. This is an ancient grievance. Someone in the past, a spiritual thief, stole something sacred from your ancestors. It wasn't just land or money they took. They stole honor. They stole a legacy. They stole a heritage that carried the weight of your family's name. For generations, that stolen blessing has been hidden under layers of lies, fear, and manipulation. Your ancestors felt the loss of it. They cried out in the night, but their voices seemed to be ignored by the world. They prayed for justice, but the answers seemed delayed. But heaven never forgot. Heaven kept a record of every tear that soaked into the ground and every prayer that rose to the throne. God watched as that stolen blessing grew. Over time, what was once just a seed became a forest. What was once a small piece of land became a territory of immense value. And today, in that divine courtroom, the ownership of that massive, overflowing blessing was transferred back to its rightful owner, your son. This is why the enemy panicked. This is why they lost their composure. They realized your son was not just receiving a small gift. He was receiving a destiny-shifting inheritance. This inheritance is powerful enough to elevate him, strengthen him, and cover his children and his children's children. It is powerful enough to restore honor to your entire bloodline and silence every insult your family has ever endured. The enemy knows that once this blessing lands fully in your son's hands, their power over your family is broken forever. That is why they called that dangerous man. They wanted to use fear as a weapon because they had no legal ground left to stand on. They wanted to shake your courage. They wanted to make you doubt the victory so that you wouldn't reach out and take it. They knew they couldn't take the blessing back, so they decided to attack your peace instead. But they miscalculated. They forgot that your son is protected by the highest court. They forgot that he is covered by divine justice that cannot be bribed or intimidated. The man they hired, the one they sent to intimidate you, is already beginning to feel the terror of the Lord. He does not know why his heart feels so heavy. He does not know why his mind is suddenly filled with fog and confusion. He is walking towards what he thinks is a target, but inside, a voice is whispering, "Turn back." That is the presence of God warning him to walk away before he is destroyed. He is feeling a resistance he cannot explain. His hands are sweating. His resolve is melting. Very soon, he will stop searching. He will drop the assignment because the fear of God is falling upon him. He will not only stop, he will turn against the one who sent him. He will expose the secrets your enemy tried to hide. The trap they set for your son is going to snap back on their own fingers. The one who cursed your family will be the one who ends up exposed in the light of day. The one who stole from your ancestors will face the company and consequences of their greed. Faye sighs and gasps, Faye, if you believe that God is confusing the enemy on your behalf right now. I need you to make a declaration. Type "My family is restored" in the comments. Let the enemy see that you are not afraid, that you are standing on the promise of restoration. My child, I know you have carried worry in your heart. I know you have looked at your son and wondered if he would ever catch a break. I know you have cried over him in silence, praying for protection, for stability, and for a breakthrough that felt like it would never come. But today is your sign. Today is your proof. The tide has turned. God is restoring what was taken. He is protecting what belongs to your bloodline. He is placing honor back on your family name. Your son will not struggle the way the generations before him struggled. He will not be robbed the way your ancestors were robbed. He will not walk in fear or lack. He will walk in favor. The blessing that returned to him today is only the beginning. It is the first drop of a mighty rain. More restoration is coming. More doors are opening. More victories are being prepared in the unseen realm. And hear this final promise. For this part of the journey, No one who rises against your son will succeed. No one who searches for him in the darkness will find him. No weapon formed against him, no curse, no hex, no plot, no scheme will reach him. He is surrounded by a wall of fire. He is covered by the blood. He is chosen by the King. He is marked by victory. You can walk in peace tonight. You can sleep soundly tonight. The story has turned. The blessing is restored, and your son is the rightful owner of what heaven has returned. My child, do not tune out now, and do not let your attention drift. What I am about to share with you is the second layer of this revelation, and it is arguably more critical than the first. The courtroom battle is won, yes, but the Spirit says, I am not finished speaking yet. There is a ripple effect happening right now that you need to be aware of. From the moment the verdict was read in that spiritual courtroom, something else began to move in the unseen realm. A new thread was pulled in the tapestry of your life. A new motion began behind the veil. Have you felt it? Think back to the last few hours or the last few days. There was a moment where you felt a sudden, unexplained chill. You might have been sitting in a warm room, but a coldness brushed past you. Or perhaps the air around you seemed to thicken suddenly, making it hard to breathe deeply. Your heart felt stirred, pulled, or strangely uneasy without a logical reason. The Lord wants you to know today that was not your imagination. That was not anxiety playing tricks on you. That was not fear. That was discernment. That was your spirit picking up on a shift in the atmosphere. You see, not every danger enters with a loud bang. Not every threat announces itself with a trumpet. The most dangerous things in the spirit realm often arrive quietly, like a subtle breath, a faint tremor, or a ripple on still water. Something has been approaching your life slowly and quietly. It has been watching you, studying your routine, and waiting for a moment of weakness or distraction. But, because you are covered by the blood, heaven did not remain silent. That restlessness you have felt at night, that is God waking you up. Those strange dreams that seemed to make no sense, those were alerts. The heaviness in your thoughts, that was the Holy Spirit pressing on your mind to say, look up, pay attention. For too long you have brushed aside these little nudges. You told yourself it was nothing. You told yourself you were just tired or overthinking. But God says, no more. These were flashes of divine caution. They were signals meant to prepare you for what was forming ahead. There is something or someone currently in your circle that cannot go with you into this next season of blessing. There is a voice speaking into your ear that carries a hidden agenda. There is a path you have been tempted to take, thinking it was an opportunity, but in reality it is a trap designed to delay your restoration. God is exposing it right now. He is shining a light on it before you take another step. You have sensed a strange tension in certain conversations lately. You have noticed a subtle darkness in environments where you used to feel comfortable. You have seen a shift in the way a particular person looks at you or reacts to your good news. Do not ignore this. This is not a coincidence. It is a revelation. The atmosphere around you is being rearranged by God's hand. People are about to show you their true intentions. Motives are being uncovered. Masks are slipping off faces you thought you knew. What was hidden in the dark is becoming visible in the light. You may not have understood why you suddenly lost the desire to call that friend. You may not know why you felt a sudden urge to distance yourself from that group. You may be confused about why a certain door you wanted open was slammed in your face. But, my child, hear this. It was protection. It was divine intervention. It was heaven physically removing you from a situation that would have harmed you. Do not try to force open what God has shut. Do not chase after people who are walking away. Do not mourn the loss of connections that God is severing. You are being shielded. You are being pulled out of a spiritual ambush that you didn't even know was set for you. If you believe God is sharpening your spiritual vision right now, I want you to confirm it. Leave a comment saying, "God, open my eyes," or simply, "Amen." Let this be your prayer for this hour. And there is a moment approaching very soon where your eyes will open wide. You will see the truth, not through your emotions, but through pure revelation. You will understand exactly why you felt uncomfortable. You will see that your spirit rejected something your mind couldn't explain because your spirit saw the danger. There are forces that hoped you would stay distracted. There are assignments that relied on you being blind, but heaven shook you awake just in time. You are stepping into a season where deception cannot survive in your presence. The light on you is becoming too bright for lies to hide. You are being covered by a clarity that cannot be manipulated. So, pay close attention to the shifts. Pay attention to who suddenly becomes distant when you start talking about God's blessings. Pay attention to who gets uncomfortable when you share your victories. Pay attention to the sudden hesitations you feel in your gut. These are your spiritual security system working perfectly. There is a spirit of confusion that has tried to wrap itself around your mind lately, trying to make you doubt your path. There is an atmosphere of distraction that has tried to swallow your focus. There is an old cycle of pain that tried to reattach itself to your life. But heaven has interrupted it. Heaven has disrupted the signal. Now, listen carefully to this instruction for the coming days. There will be a moment when you feel an unusual pause, a hesitation, a check in your spirit. It might happen when you are about to sign a paper, or when you are about to agree to a meeting, or when you are about to buy something. Do not ignore that pause. That hesitation is the Holy Spirit standing in front of you with his hand up. That pull is an instruction. Not every opportunity is safe. Not every open door is meant for you. The enemy counts on you rushing. The enemy counts on you being too busy to listen, but God has slowed you down for a reason. What you are walking into is too important to be mishandled. The inheritance that has been recovered for your son is too sacred to be exposed to the wrong people. You cannot afford to be misled now. You cannot afford to trust the wrong voice. The veil is lifting, and the storm is clearing, but you must remain watchful. My child, the veil is lifting, the storm is clearing, and the atmosphere around you is speaking louder than it ever has before. You are entering the final phase of this transition, and this is where the victory becomes permanent. Heaven is warning you not because you are in danger of falling, but so you can be preserved for the elevation that is happening right now. The shadows may move and the winds may rise, but you will not be swallowed by them. You will not be deceived, and you will not be overtaken, because the warning you have received is your proof that God is with you. Let me continue from the very place where the last word settled, because the revelation is not yet complete. From the moment you began to understand this message, something in the realm of the Spirit intensified. A line was drawn in the sand of your destiny. A divine separation began to take place. The darkness that once followed your family from a distance has now been denied access. It stood at the edge of your son's life, waiting for a door to open, waiting for a mistake to be made. But the awareness you have now has sealed that door shut. You must understand the nature of your enemy right now. When a spiritual threat loses its permission to attack, it becomes desperate. When it loses its influence, it becomes reckless. When it loses its access, it tries to become loud. So do not be surprised if you feel a strange, sudden resistance in the coming days. Do not be surprised if old emotions try to rise up again or if unexpected minor problems try to stir up chaos in your routine. These are not signs that you are losing. These are not signs of defeat. These are the death throes of an assignment that is broken. They are the final flares of a fire that is being extinguished. The enemy is afraid of your clarity. The enemy trembles at your awakening. The darkness knows that once you see the truth, its deception collapses instantly. Once you recognize the pattern, the trap loses all its power. You are not the same person you were a year ago or even yesterday. This new clarity has elevated you and set you apart. It has shifted you out of the reaches of the dangers that used to trip you up. But with this new level of revelation comes a new responsibility. You can no longer tolerate what weakens your spirit. You can no longer negotiate with the things that drain your peace. You must no longer entertain voices that you know, deep down, carry hidden intentions. There is a specific kind of silence coming to your life in this next season. It is a holy silence. It will not feel empty. It will feel heavy with purpose. It will not feel lonely. It will feel sacred. In this silence, heaven is going to show you what your eyes missed before. Pay close attention when the world around you seems to quiet down. That is the moment heaven is downloading instructions into your spirit. It will feel like a pause in time, as if the world slowed down for just one breath. In that moment, do not rush to fill the quiet with noise. Stay present, stay yielded, because in that stillness, the answers you have been praying for will arrive. The direction for your son will come. The clarity for your next step will come. Your steps are being recalibrated by the Lord Himself. Your path is being corrected and your destiny is being protected. There is someone, or perhaps a specific influence, whose presence in your life was never meant to last forever. Their season has expired. Their assignment to distract you has been exposed. Do not try to reopen a door that heaven has closed. Do not try to revive a connection that heaven has removed. You are entering a realm of spiritual maturity where the version of you that tolerated disrespect no longer exists. The version of you that doubted your own intuition has been awakened and strengthened. Your discernment is sharper now. Your spiritual skin is tougher now. You will not fall into the same traps again. You will not be deceived by the same old tricks. The storm that was sent to break you has only served to build you. The whispers that were meant to distract you have only made you tune in to God's voice more clearly. And now we reach the final seal of this message. This is not just a warning anymore. It is a declaration of victory. The danger that pursued you has been overruled by the highest court. The trap designed for your son has collapsed on itself. The shadow that followed your bloodline has lost its way. You are stepping into a realm of divine protection that is absolute. Your spirit is covered. Your home is covered. Your son is covered. The season of silent attacks and unseen battles is coming to a permanent finish. You are crossing a threshold into a time where the enemy will actually fear your presence because your light is too bright. The warning was given to empower you, to sharpen you, and to prepare you for the blessing that is about to land. What is coming next is not danger. It is destiny. It is elevation. It is the breakthrough you have cried out for. Heaven needed to clear the shadows so the blessing would land on solid ground. Heaven needed to expose the threat so the promise would be pure. The warning is complete. The message is sealed. The final veil is lifted. You are ready, you are aligned, you are prepared. Walk forward with courage and wisdom, because the night has spoken its last word. Your dawn begins now. If you receive this complete victory for your son and your family, I ask you to seal it with one final act of faith. leave a comment below declaring, "I claim this victory for my son," or "My son is rising." Let that be the final stamp on this prophetic word. Peace be with you, and may your son walk in the light of this promise forever. Listen to me carefully, my child, and let your heart grow quiet, because what I am about to speak is not ordinary. It is not the kind of passing comfort you hear in the noise of a busy day. This message did not arrive by chance, and it is not here simply to soothe you with gentle words. It comes carrying the weight of eternity,